BOM stands for browser object model. Okay, that is what we are going to take it up today. It's a browser object model. Now, what is this browser object model, and how is this related to the learning of JavaScript and other related DOM architecture and everything? So here, BOM provides what we call it as objects and methods for interacting with the web browser. So if you consider any web browser, like for example, our discussion, we have taken Google Chrome. So Google Chrome is a browser that is developed by Google, okay, as an organization. So now, in order to control or in order to interact with the browser, we need certain set of objects and methods, okay, and that can be done via the JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript will utilize those built-in objects and methods, which becomes part of the browser, and with the JavaScript, we can manipulate, change, modify, and get the properties and methods associated with those BOM. Okay. So in a deeper level, BOM is nothing but it's an application programming interface. All right. It consists of objects, properties, and methods. And what you see here, the very first one, by default, the object that represents the BOM is a window object. Okay. Now, what is this window object? We might have already seen that alert method was there, right? That was part of the window object. Okay. And again, window object contains a lot of other objects as well, like location, history, and screen, navigator, and then very importantly, we are talking about document here. Okay. This is of our area of interest, and this is where we'll be spending a lot of time in understanding what document is. Now, let's take it one by one. Now we said that window object, which is part of the BOM, okay, browser object model, and here window object serves as a global object in the JavaScript environment within the context of the browser. Okay, what it means is the browser that we are talking about in our example is a Chrome. The Chrome browser, if we want to interact with the Chrome browser using the JavaScript, then we are making use of this global object, what is known as window object. So, and what is this window object again? By default, it is the object of the browser. It is the default object of the browser. You can call all the functions within the browser by specifying window or by directly. So because it is a default object of the browser, you don't need to specify the object name called window. You can directly say window. Like for example, let me go to the console and show you what I mean. Let's say I'm going to enter window. Okay. Now, when I enter window in the web console, you can see that this is an object, opens with the curly brackets, end with the curly brackets. And this window object, which is part of the Chrome, has got a lot of properties associated with them. So there's so many properties. Okay. And these properties are provided by the browser, and this can be utilized using JavaScript as a programming language. So a lot of properties it contains by default. This is called a global object of the browser. Now, you might have seen we have already used some of the properties associated with window. So if I just want to recall those, like window dot alert. Okay. So what does this method say? It will open up the dialog box, and that will allow the user to see. I mean, if you say, yeah, not a dialog box, it will open up the dialog box definitely, and it will alert you. Like, for example, you have an alert. All right, you have an alert. This will be showing up on your browser. And you also have seen other like prompt. So prompt was another window method that is part of the global object called window. And you can go ahead and enter the number. So it will help the user to capture the inputs from the user. Okay. When I open this particular statement, execute that in a browser, it will open up a dialog box which allows the users to enter the number. Okay. This is again window.prompt. And there are other objects also that we will have seen as a part of the window. All right. Now, with that being said, because window is a default object of the browser, so you can skip the window part. You can directly say prompt, all right, or you can directly say alert. Okay, that is absolutely fine. That is the reason, because by default window is a default browser, default object of the browser. You can skip the window part and directly you can use it. And an object of the window is created automatically by the browser. So whenever the browser is opened, the object window is automatically be created. Okay, it is by default. It is automatically be generating. And the important point that you need to understand here is window is an object of the browser and it is not the object of the JavaScript. Now, understand this statement really well. What I mean by that is, we have seen at our initial days that JavaScript can run on the client side and JavaScript can also run on the server side. So when I say it will run on the client side, which means it is going to run on the browser, all right? And when I say it is going to run on the server side, then there is a server system that has got certain a backend server which will initiate like Express.js, and also there is Node.js that will allow you to execute the JavaScript code on the server side. Now, let me give you one example. Okay, let's say I'll just open command prompt cmd and I'll open it. And here, what I want to show you is Node is something that I have already installed in my application, in my computer. Okay. Now, if I go ahead and enter just Node on my command prompt, it is going to say, welcome to Node.js, and version is 18.12, 12.1. That is the version that I currently hold, which is not the latest, but yeah, it is there. So now I enter the REPL editor here of the Node. And if I want to show you like window.node. What is that I'm going to show you here? It is something related to Node.js that is executing on my computer, which is now acting as a server, but not on the browser. I'm working this particularly on a node. So if I go ahead and execute, window.alert. So if I go ahead and execute window.alert, hello, and if I execute this, it is going to throw me an error. What is it saying? Uncaught reference error, window is not defined, which means this document, this window object, which is part of the BOM, is not valid when you are running on the server. That is what this statement means. Window object is the object of the browser and not the object of JavaScript. It has nothing to do with JavaScript. But when you are executing that on the server side, this is what it is going to throw. Otherwise, I can go ahead and say let num is equal to 1, 2, 3. This is fine. Okay, if I go ahead and say num, it is going to show me the number what it is storing the value, because this is executing, the Node.js is executing the JavaScript perfectly fine. But window object is not part of JavaScript. It is only the part of the browser through which the JavaScript can interact with it. All right, that is the point that I wanted to bring to your attention here. Now, let's go ahead further. Let's understand one by one the BOM objects. We saw that initially that BOM contains window, location, history, screen, navigator, and document. These are the objects that are part of the BOM. By default, BOM's object is window. All right. Now, what does window object represents? Represents the browser window and provides the methods and properties for controlling the window, such as resizing, moving, opening, closing. All that can be done using the window object. So just to give you some of the properties, just want to highlight here. Anyways, you saw alert, you saw prompt. They are also the methods and properties that are associated with window object. Along with it, there is something called as inner height. What does this width property do? It will specify the inner height of the browser. Like for example, let's say if I want to go to the browser window, I'll clear the screen. Now this particular console is opened to the browser window that is there, index.html. This is the file that is there in my Visual Studio Code. I have right clicked this and opened with the live server, and because of that, this browser window has opened, and here you are seeing right here. So it is part of the browser which is from the DevTools Chrome. All right. Now let's say window dot inner height. Okay. Now what does this say? This will provide the inner height of the window, which is 674 pixel. Okay. That is what we are talking about, this property. And so is the case with inner width as well. Okay, I can go ahead and see the inner width as well. Let's say window dot inner width, and this will give me 1280 pixel is the width. Okay, and there are other properties like open. What does this will do? It will automatically open a new window for me. Like if I go ahead and say uh, a window dot open. So if I go ahead and enter, automatically a new tab is open. New tab is a new window that is opened now, which is a blank window that is open. And this is happening because of this property, that is open method. All right. And at the same time, there is also something called as window close. We can also close that window as well. All right. All these are related to the window object that is part of the browser. All right. Now, in the same way, there is also something called as location object. Okay. Now, location object, what is this? It is basically to which represents the URL. Okay, represents URL, which is the URL of the current web page for navigating to the different URLs, which is accessing the host. You can access the hypertext reference, protocols, path name, all that becomes part of your location object. So, what is that? What are the properties that it has? So it has what we call it as window.location.href, because window is part of the location of the window. I mean, location is a part of a window object, and this href property is part of the location. Okay, that is what you have a dot chaining here happens. So what it means is you can directly say location.href, which is also fine because anyways Windows is a default object. So location.href will return what? It will return the URL of the web page. Like for example, if I clear, suppose I have this. Now I'm going to enter wsj.com. Okay, just wallstreetjournal.com, and this is the website that I have opened. Now suppose if I go and open the DevTools for this. All right. Now this DevTool is opened. I'll clear this, and what I wanted to show it to you is this location href. Okay. Now if I say I'll clear that, and let's say there are issues here. I'll remove the info and error. Okay, sorry, I'll remove the info. And now let's say I'm going to do what? I'm just going to say location dot href. So what it is giving me, it is giving the hypertext reference of the web page, which is this particular web page from which I have opened the console. So what is this? Hypertext reference is nothing but I am getting www.wsg.com. This is the link of the website that I have opened. So you can access the location href, and you can access the host name as well. What it returns? It returns the domain name. Like domain name in this case is WSG, right? So that is what you, if you can see location dot host name. Host will give you the complete host, and the host name will give the same thing. Okay, both are the same. You are getting the host and the host name, which is www.wsg.com. All right, and finally there is also something we can talk about, the path name. What it says, it returns the path and the file of the current page. So here location dot path name. So what it is at the current level, so at a root level. Okay, path name. You can also get the protocol as well. So protocol as well, which is nothing but the secure protocol, which is https, hypertext transfer protocol, secured. All right, which is what you are seeing for this website, because this lock you are seeing, right, this is all because of the secure protocol. All right. So what you see, the HTTPS. All right. Now, this is what we call it as location object. Okay, location object. And next is what we call it as a history object. Now, history object is again what it says. It talks about the manipulation that you can do for the browser history, and also you can navigate back and forward. Like if you see on your browser, right, what you have is a back and forward sign, right? This also, like for example, I am here. I can go back as well and forward as well. Like for example, let's say you have this particular object. So one is called history.back, which is same as clicking the back in the browser, and history.forward, which is same as clicking the forward button on the browser. Now let me try this. Okay, let's say history.back. Okay, so back, I'm going to enter. So what it will do, if you observe, I have come to the home page, because earlier I was at the Tesla, right? I was at this news, which was Netflix Tesla way on Nasdaq. So I was at this. Now I have come back. Now currently I am at the home page. Let's say I want to click the forward button, which is I want to enter with this page. I can go ahead in the browser. I can say history dot forward. So this will take me to the forward. So what it has done, it has now taken me to the forward. See, I am at the same news that I have clicked earlier. So instead of the home page, I have entered the page of the Tesla and Netflix drop. All right. So this is how you can navigate through the history or the forward and back of your browser. All right. In the same way, there is also an object which is known as screen object. Okay, what it represents is a user screen and provides the information like size, orientation, color, depth, and you can talk about the width, height, what is available width, available height, all that representing in the pixel size. Like now, I mean, just to let you know, let's say I'm going to say screen, okay, dot width. Okay, so now width is 2560 pixel, and in the same way I can go ahead and find the height as well. Okay, which is 1440 pixel. All right, for the window, this one that I'm talking about. All right, the height and the width, that is again you can go ahead and find that using the screen object, these properties. The next is the navigator object. Navigator object, what it provides? It provides the information about the browser and its capabilities. Like what are the capabilities that it is going to provide? Like browser platform, the cookies that are there on the browser, and also the user agent string and all that information. Like for example, if I say navigator.cookie enabled, what it is going to return, it is a boolean method. What it is going to return, it returns true if cookies are enabled, otherwise false. Okay, for the browser, for the website that you're talking about on that browser. And dot platform returns the browser platforms, which is the operating system that the browser is operating on. Okay, and online will return true if the browser is online, which means you are seeing that browser. Now let's take that one by one. Okay, now what is that? Let's say navigator dot cookie enabled. Yes, there is a cookie that is enabled. It is returning the true, which means for the website wsg.com, the cookie is enabled. Now again, I'm going to say what? Navigator dot. Now I can also go ahead and talk about this option, which is platform. So what this platform will tell me, this is going to tell me what operating system, that is Windows. So Windows Win32 is a Windows operating system. So wherever the browser is open, for that what operating system that the system is using, client is using, that is what it is going to give us, navigator.platform. And then there is navigator.online, navigator.online. So what it is going to give me, whether you the So, so navigator.online is true because I am currently viewing that, open that browser. So it is going to show me true, okay, which is the navigator or the browser is currently online. Okay, again, these are some of the examples. Again, if you go ahead and see navigator object, there are a lot of them as well. Okay, there are a lot of objects that are that you can go ahead and use and view them, and it will show you a lot of things. All right. And at the same time, what is most important for us is this part. Okay, so what is that? The part where we are calling it as document. Okay, this is where the DOM originates. Now what is this document? Document object also is a part of the BOM. And what it represents? It represents the HTML document. Okay, HTML document that is currently loaded on the browser. Now, whenever the web page is loaded, any web page, any website, whenever it is loaded, the browser by default, it will create a document object of that page. So there is a object that is going to create by default. Like for example, let's say this is the one that I have opened for wsg.com. Let's say I'll just type document. Now, if you see this document, there is a lot of things that you are going to see. There is an entire HTML file from HTML tag open to HTML tag close. And inside the head, there is a lot of information that goes in. And inside the body of the tag, there is so much of action happening here in the body of the tag as well. So what it means is the document is the very top of the entire HTML. Once the document is there, inside that your HTML page itself will be there. Okay. Now, in order to show you much better, what this contains lot of properties. Now document is again an object, like a JavaScript object has got what? Properties, and properties have got what? Key value pairing, right? There is a key and the value associated with it. In that, there are a lot of keys and values are there. Okay, sometimes you have a key and a value which is a HTML collection. Sometimes you have a key and a value will be a string. And sometimes there is a key called child element count. You have a value of 1. So in this way, which is a number, these document object model, or the document that is part of your HTML, whatever is loaded on the browser, it has got a lot of properties associated with it. Using these properties, we are going to involve into the learning of DOM.